Literally, peace world. Literally. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. Also hit that like button if you dig the way any information is being presented on the channel. I'm on the cusp of this 1,000 subscribers, so any new subscribers would be appreciated 3,000%. But let's jump into it, man. I got into this issue on my It's Always Personal podcast a couple months ago after the Ahmaud Arbery situation in Georgia. And I just wanted to point out that when I going into my place of business on the day that I saw the video of Eric Garner being killed choked out by an NYC police officer, the morning that I watched Philando Castile be gunned down in his car with his girlfriend and the mother of his child, with his child in the back seat. And then there was another situation. There were multiple ones. But I went into my job that morning after seeing, and the Philando Castile, I can't remember the guy who was the brother that was killed like the same day or the night before maybe. But I went into my office that day and no one else cared. No one else was even aware of that. And, I kind of looked around to see, was anybody else off? Did anybody notice the news? So on and so forth. And by and large, nobody did. I kept my thoughts to myself, but I was bothered. And I went on and on into the episode. I can't remember what the overall point of that episode was. Maybe it was the Arbery situation. I think it was. But we're almost still there. Now, I'm not the one that's out here. I don't disregard the white men who have been, or the white people who've been killed by the unarmed. Let me make that point clear, that distinction clear. The unarmed white people who have been killed by police officers. I mentioned Daniel Shaver out in Arizona. I believe he was a Texas insect technician or pest control technician who was gunned down by this charged up kind of like not special forces, but look into that situation. Google Daniel Shaver's name. A man gunned, black or white. He was gunned down in a pair of basketball shorts with some flip-flops on in the hallway of a hotel. I was hurt by the visuals of that. The officer went to court, not found innocent. It's not my problem if mainstream America or white America do not care or does not care about these situations. Now we have the Jacob Blake situation. Okay, the latest in a string, and I don't care if it doesn't happen. I don't care if it doesn't happen every week, as LeBron James might say, or every day. I really don't care about the semantics about some of this stuff. If you see it and you don't like it, you should be able to voice your concerns in this country, and that's what's not being respected right now. Is I look at a Jason Whitlock on Outkick.com. I go down to his comment sections, and it's LeBron should shut up. Whitlock asks, is there this moral responsibility where LeBron shouldn't be speaking on this without knowing all the facts? We saw the second video came out. where and I saw a second version of the second video, and I could see where Jacob Blake got up off the ground or forced his way out of the the restraint of all of the 4 or 5 police officers, at least 3 of them. Then they follow him around the vehicle. He gets to his door. And there I'm probably gonna differ with a lot of black people. Because I believe I watch things for myself and I think what I want to think. I don't know why Jacob Blake chose to turn his back to the police. I don't know what he was doing when he went in his car. Was he trying to get in his car and leave? Or did he walk away like, man, I got something for all of y'all? Or I got some I don't know. And I don't even want to speculate. But he played a significant role in him being shot in the back 6 or 7 times. Maybe even as many as 8, I've heard. But now it's like, so another point that I wanted to make, MAGA, the acronym. I'm going to be honest, man, I did not even know what MAGA meant or what it stood for probably 1 or 2 months after it started appearing on everything. I was oblivious to it. Once I put 2 and 2 together one day and realized what Make America Great Again was about, I never said anything to anybody in any of my circles who considers themselves a conservative or Republican. I didn't say a single word to them about or ask a question. What does that mean? What does he really mean? What's really meant by it? What's the background? What's the intent of it? I never said a word to nobody. Honestly, I didn't give a fork. My mama said she heard me cussing on every video. That's just not true, but I didn't give a fork. That's y'all's thing? Good. But now, on the other hand, you got Whitlock, in part, leading the charge out here and being backed by all the commenters on his article that LeBron shouldn't say anything. He shouldn't open his dumb mouth and say anything about what he saw in those videos because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But then I can watch, just for an example, because you got to do this tit for tat shit that we never get anywhere. But then I'm watching some of the speakers. Well, I'm overhearing. I didn't watch the Democratic convention, national convention. I just get the cliff notes. But I heard where someone spoke glowingly about the handling of the pandemic and COVID-19, coronavirus. I'm sorry, I was in this world back in March and late February, and there was not a single voice. There was not great direction. There was not great understanding. There was not great concern. There was not a lot of great communication put out there. There simply wasn't. I'm not telling you what MSNBC said. I'm not telling you what CNN said. I'm not telling you what Fox said. I watched President Donald Trump, 45, and I heard several things out of his mouth that frankly weren't a lot better than the average Joe on the street for multiple weeks. So you just can't come now and say that something different occurred. It still hasn't occurred in a lot of ways. Not there being a singular voice or how we're going to proceed. So it's okay for people to say what they want to say in this country. And I mentioned before this ACLU video that I watched with this lawyer, Jeffrey Robinson, I believe. He said one of the things I couldn't track down where, and I don't feel like watching the whole damn video again, But one of the points that he made, like in Jim, I don't know, I think it was like the laws of being on a plantation and how slavery was kept in place. And part of that was that the slaves, 2 or 3 of them weren't allowed to gather, or more than 3 or more weren't allowed to gather, because they didn't want them to get together and start talking and be talking and exchanging ideas and whatever. And this is kind of similar here. Like, y'all shouldn't be talking. Y'all can't talk. I'm sitting here like, man, I'm bugging out that you can see something. Like I said, when I went to work that morning after watching Eric Garner and then again after watching Philando Castile, based on what I saw in the video alone, I could think what the hell I wanted to think. But they're like, well, LeBron has a platform of 42 million people on Twitter. He shouldn't be saying anything to those people. Now, keep in mind this fact right here. LeBron never said go tool up, go arm up, and go riot, go protest. He ain't say none of that stuff. I guess that's all implied, though. But the fact of the matter is, how can you have more expectations on even Jacob Blake or the people in the neighborhood that responded to what they saw? How can you have all of these expectations on them, but guys like Whitlock and many others have zero expectations for how law enforcement is supposed, or law enforcement professionals are supposed to take care of a situation that involves one unarmed man? You can say what you want about he brought this on himself. He's ignorant. He put his kids in danger. What the hell was he thinking? You can say what you want, but just because he was ignorant or non-compliant, 3 to 5 officers, law enforcement professionals, you're not greenlit to put bullets in that man's back. All of them men stood there and got their ass whipped by one dude. One 5'9" dude, 200 pounds or something. We'll go a bit further and I'm going to get on off here. Montrezl Harrell. I'm not like Jason Whitlock. Montrezl Harrell probably should have been suspended. Definitely should have been fined. Once the story became what it became with him calling Luka Doncic a bitch ass white boy. Yeah, we got a package for you. We got a fine for you. Now I know it's a dozen brothers out here talking about, even a family member that I know said, well, look what this back and forth all the time. Well, look what we've been getting called all these years. I don't give a damn about what we've been called all these years. When it comes to your own personal conduct. Now, and that's the thing, I mentioned this before, man, in the world of sports, I thought we could address some of these things. Yeah, Luka Doncic is giving those boys the business. He's been giving the wing players and the perimeter players of the Clippers, he's been giving them the business. So Montrezl Harrell was frustrated, and he lets it fly. Now I'm gonna tell you another thing. Black people, in my opinion, are typical in a lot of casual conversation. Man, we're descriptive. We talk about, when we tell a story or an event, we call out, we distinguish what every person is by race. I mean, it was this Asian lady, it was this white girl, it was this Mexican, dude, it was this brother. That's how we often tell a story. I noticed it one time, because when your numbers, where your place of business and what your inner circles, when those are distinctly, distinctly different in the representation. Sometimes this is what they say being bilingual. Sometimes you gotta mind your audience. Now I don't get in there, hey, this cracker, this cracker be, that's not me. But a lot of times if I'm talking to family, yeah, this white girl was at the thing the other day. This white dude was at the gym. That happens. So anyway, I said that to say because Montrezl Harrell, he probably should have just called him an MF. But he goes bitch ass white boy, which throws out the fact that whatever he is, he's Eastern European or Serbian or Croatian or whatever he is, Lithuanian. He might be Lithuanian. But we can't run out of here under the veil of all of this social justice and equality and blah blah blah, and then we get into our feelings and get emotional, and you let bitch ass white boy fly, because it automatically, again, the back and forth, the tit for tat, it automatically opens up to all these dudes on Outkick.com who don't give a damn about the NBA. They don't watch it no more, but they immediately rush with, well, if Luka Doncic would have called Montrezl Harrell that, all hell would have broke loose. Paulie Malignaggi on Showtime. If a white fighter would have said, "Can no black boy beat me?" he would have lost his whole contract with Showtime. He would have never fought on the network again. We get into this back and forth that never ends, and there's never any understanding. And to me, it's cool at this point if you are non-black and you don't want to acknowledge anything about the police brutality and the individuals who are getting killed. Because the meme is out there. You know what? Common sense would say if you don't do any crime, you almost make it a 0% chance that you could lose your life to law enforcement. But see, this is almost like the thugs that would rob you in the hood. You can't get prepared for the officer who may take your life because you don't know your life is being, sometimes a lot of these videos, you don't know your life is being taken until it's actually happening. Just like you don't know the robber is a professional crook. You don't know that he's coming to rob you, coming out of the liquor store or coming out of the nightclub or being at a gas station, like yours truly. They know what they're going to do. You can't get prepared for it. Same thing here, a traffic stop in some instances. And next thing you know, the cat in Cincinnati, I forget his name, he didn't want the ticket or he tried to drive off and the officer shot him in the head once or twice. I think he was a University of Cincinnati police officer. Lastly, them thinking about this, the Raptors talking about coming up, going on strike. I see people on Outkick.com. They don't want CP3, Chris Paul. They don't want him mentioning it, and they don't want him mentioning Jacob Blake because he's a criminal. Partially, in part. They don't want him speaking on it. But I thought you weren't watching the game. But if they move forward with the strike, the numbers, I read the article. Interesting article. The NBA, the viewing numbers are down 45% since 2012. No other league has that type of, fallout. Now, some of it is because the NBA is one of the most outspoken leagues in terms of these social issues and the social messaging and all of that. A lot of it for me though is you have a lot of markets across this country who you can't keep a good player in your market, in your favorite team. It's 3 or 4 teams where all the players go. So the hell with it. Why would I tune in when my team is done 2 weeks in? Detroit Pistons, and maybe 3 months in after December. But so if you go and do the protest, I guess it's there. I guess we are there where that's necessary. Somebody feels that's necessary. So if they go through with it, it might be the realest thing that I've seen done since Cap risked it all making his point, which wasn't well received. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.